Just... wow. Ever since the plagiarism story that I've talked about recently, there has been quite a lot more development coming out of it. So if you guys don't know what happened recently with Philip Mewson, he's a former editor of the Nintendo branch at IGN who was fired because he was caught plagiarizing a YouTuber by the name of Boomstick Gaming. The plagiarism case is so unbelievably blatant that it is undeniable, and that's the reason why he was fired. He made a non-apology video that doesn't really apologize to anything. I have a video talking about that topic linked down below. But then right after that, it's just insanity after insanity. You thought you're a mad lad plagiarizing the smart kid's homework in high school, while Philip Mewson is reaching out of the plagiarist throne. If plagiarism is a contest, he would be on the top 5. Why? Because he plagiarized almost everyone, ever since he said this on his now deleted apology video.
So you can keep looking, Kotaku, and please let me know if you find anything.
So many people, including game journalists, took the challenge and tried to find other instances where he plagiarized. And sure enough, so many cases are found. Go check out YongYea's video on this. I think he did a great job covering it more than I could. The most hilarious instance is where he decided to rip off someone from NeoGAF, and even his LinkedIn profile is a ripoff. I swear to God, this person is a walking photocopy machine. Anyway, today we're not talking about the walking photocopy machine. Today we're going to talk about people's rather unprecedented level of ignorance. So pretty much everyone on the entire planet has been talking about this horrendous plagiarism case, but where are the GamerGaters? You know, those people who advocated for ethics in video game journalism, but are actually just a bunch of people who just want to drive women out of gaming? Why are they so silent about this? Why aren't they talking about one of the worst cases of unethical practices in journalism? It's almost like it isn't about ethics, and it's just about driving women out of gaming. Actually, they have talked about that. If you browse on the Kotaku in Action subreddit, which is basically the GamerGate hub, you can just easily find a lot of these videos. And hey, that's my video right there. A lot of prominent GamerGate figures are also talking about this on social media. So the only reason why you say this is so that you can lie about GamerGate to own them. Why do you have to lie to own GamerGate? GamerGate is dead. Nobody uses that hashtag anymore. I don't use the hashtag anymore, and yet here I am talking about this. So why is this dead movement being talked about again? GamerGate is a zombie at this point. Incidentally, I think every Vivian James fan art from now should be a zombie version of her, because that's what this entire movement is in current year. It's a walking dead. The reason why it's barely alive is because of an invisible life force instigated by game journalists and the blue check marks on Twitter screeching about the GamerGate boogeyman thanks to reading things that they disagree with. Everyone on planet Earth wants this thing to die so that we can put it out of its misery, but you can't kill it. There's no weak point. It's a regenerator, and it's regenerating thanks to you dumbasses in social media. I'm seriously starting to get more and more frustrated with this crap. How about you just listen to the word of God for a second?
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it.
Yeah, can you apply that principle except with GamerGate? Also with the racism too? Anyway, let's check out these tweets and let's talk about them in detail because it is seriously getting under my skin. After its brutal, years-long campaign about ethics in video games, it's natural that GamerGate is up in arms about this major ethical scandal in... Sorry, what? Oh, I'm being told it was never about ethics in video games. I wonder, ma'am, what universe are you living in? Because it sounds so ridiculously comforting. Surely, the GamerGate movement is more active right now than it's ever been, given that this past week has given us the most clear, obvious, and explicit violation of ethics in gaming journalism in recent years, right? Yes, they are. They are active. They just don't use the GamerGate hashtag because it's dead and it's the stupidest thing in the world. Can we just move on from this? I checked their stupid freaking subreddit a few days ago, and it was the 17th highest post under a bunch of random anti-feminist and Twitter banning posts. Oh, so they talked about it, but they don't talk about them enough to your standards. They talked about it, but they also talked about things that you disagree with. If you keep moving that goalpost, nobody's going to bother to score it. So in case I missed it, one of the most blatant breaches in unethical game journalism ever just happened in the past few weeks, and the old "it's all about ethics in game journalism" crowd seems totally uninterested. Is that right, or did I miss something? That is not right, and you missed a lot of things. At this moment, the only reason why you missed it is because it's on purpose. If I have that right, then I guess I'll restate the obvious and point out that it was never about ethics in game journalism. It was about people feeling threatened by a change in game culture. A change marked by a value on genuine empathy and human concern for other people. I have no idea what you're talking about in the last couple of sentences. Genuine empathy and human concern, huh? Except to those people who actually want game journalists to be ethical.
It's not about that. It's about context and perspective. Can you guys ever imagine what would happen to a woman if she did what this guy did?
Actually, you don't have to imagine. The guy played the harassment card on his deleted non-apology video.
The amount of hate and threats that I've been receiving on social media have been pretty staggering.
Maybe we should change his name to Miss Photocopy. You see, these people are ignoring the reality of the situation on purpose. They ignored that the people on GamerGate has talked about this many times, and they ignored it because it serves their narrative. And even if they acknowledged it, they're going to bump up their standards. Oh, they didn't talk about it as frequent as I wanted them to. Oh, only some talked about it. Oh, they talked about other things. I discussed this on my stream because this really isn't video worthy, but now there's an entire freaking article on a big website, and at that moment, all bets are off.
Where are GamerGate's ethics in journalism now? Gaming's mob of harassers goes quiet when it's a white guy scandal.
Ah, yes, it's a white guy scandal, therefore GamerGate goes quiet. Actually, the writer's definition of goes quiet is the same thing as not as loud as they were before. It's not that they're silent, it's just that the writer is too goddamn late. It's like going to the theaters 2 weeks after the film was released and write about how very few people watch it. Before we get to this article, let's talk about the writer, because the writer has displayed a terrific example in how to make sure that you are very trustworthy. This writer decided to block people who bring out evidences that are contrary to his narrative. This person got blocked, this person got blocked, this person got blocked. Of course, Mombot got blocked, and his account was briefly on protected mode. As this very brief conversation illustrated, these people are not interested in a conversation. They just mute people, block people, and ignore them when these contradicting ideas are presented. Do you want to know the reason why these people didn't hear anything or anyone from GamerGate talking about this big ethical scandal? Simple, because they blocked them. So how can you hear about these people when you block them en masse, especially when these people don't use the hashtag anymore? And that's not even the worst fake news I've heard about GamerGate.
GamerGate claimed to be a consumer watchdog in part to prevent any actual consumer advocacy from happening. They defend things like loot boxes, asset flips, pay to play, pay to win, and more, because most in GamerGate are scam artists.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the people in GamerGate defend things like loot boxes, asset flips, pay to play. Pay to play? What the hell is pay to play? Isn't that every game with a price tag? Anyway, they defend those things, pay to win, and more, because they are scam artists. GamerGaters are scam artists, huh? Excellent work, Inspector Clouseau, but you are wrong. The only scamming that I'm seeing is from the games media telling gamers that, well, actually loot boxes are the future, and single-player games are dying. Anyway, I think we should just get to the article. We have established that the writer doesn't care about the truth, and only cares about the narrative. I want to see how the writer spins this. I know very well that you lied, but at least don't suck at lying.
The world of GamerGate has been suspiciously calm about what should be its most prolific issue in the face of widespread...
Wow. Holy crap. First sentence in and your lie can easily be disproven by just 1 second of searching in Kotaku in action. And when you do so, make sure to click this one video, click this delicious link in the bottom, and pledge just for $1 a month. Smug, e-begging, smug. Incidentally, huge thanks to my new patron, Bite My Pixels, for the pledge. You are fantastic.
You remember GamerGate? The online movement is, in function, a series of harassment campaigns against women that hides behind its ethics in journalism rallying cry.
I do remember GamerGate, and I do remember that you guys lie about it all the goddamn time. Harassing women and driving them out of gaming is one of the narratives, but loot box defenders and pay-to-play defenders is another. You know what? I'm gonna title this video Pay to Play. Someone needs to tell me what pay to play is, because the only thing that comes to my mind is New Vegas hookers. I'll pay to play for that.
IGN Nintendo Philip Mewson, who is white, was fired this month.
Oh, you have to bring that up, huh? Okay, Joseph Chaplin, you're good with jokes, but you're not very good with propaganda. GamerGate has criticized... Actually, GamerGate criticized a lot more straight white men than they criticized minorities. I guess it's because a lot of game journalists are part of that demographic.
You would think such an extensive and absurd breach of ethics would be a bloodbath for those that are Kotaku in action and other GamerGate forums to feast on, but none of last week's top posts on Kotaku in action are about anything related to IGN or Philip Musin, save for one satire post from the Hard Times and a post from pro GamerGate journalist Ian Miles Chung.
Ryder, I'm not scoring in your goalpost because you moved it to that giant black hole up your butt. The people at GamerGate have talked about this and they are concerned about this. It's just that they are not concerned enough. It's not up to your standards. They should go out in riots and try to burn down IGN top to bottom. Is that what you want? The writer shared a post from Ian Miles Chung basically disproving everything that the writer said. But no, let's keep shoving that goalpost far up your prostate. And let's make sure that you put this agave cactus in it too.
Chung is wrong. None of the Reddit threads go over 52 comments and slightly over 300 upvotes, which is a dismally low bit of engagement. When you factor in that the comments are likely a small group of people replying to each other, it's apparent how few of these dudes care that a leading authority in gaming journalism is guilty of rampant plagiarism.
It didn't go over 52 comments and slightly over 300 upvotes, therefore low engagements. Writer, Kotaku in Action is one of the first few people that found the original video by Boomstick Gaming, and they're one of the first few people who actually talked about it. Here's the Reddit post of the original video by Boomstick Gaming, and guess what? It has 914 upvotes and 149 comments. In other words, a very big engagement. That news broke out about 10 days ago. 10 days ago, writer. Kotaku in Action is a subreddit of many topics that is constantly updating every single day. They can't talk about the same topic for 10 days freaking straight. That's why the subsequent smaller news following the original video by Boomstick Gaming doesn't receive a lot of engagement. But 10 days ago, by the time it was breaking news, Kotaku in Action not just jump into the bandwagon, they're the freaking constructor. So already you are wrong by saying that none of the Reddit threads go over 52 comments and over 300 upvotes. One post that was the original, the very first time the news broke out, it already not only destroyed your standards, but it fundamentally proved you wrong. The people in GamerGate, not only they absolutely do care about this, but they were there since day one. Day freaking one.
Twitter itself is also shockingly calm in the wake of Musin's plagiarism. The GamerGate tag is quiet.
That's because nobody uses the GamerGate hashtag anymore. When I talked about the news, nowhere in that video I even mentioned GamerGate because it has nothing to do with GamerGate. It has everything to do with Mr. Photocopy here denying the allegations and not making any sorts of apology. You know what? I'm sorry to all the photocopy machines out there. I gotta give you some credit. At least you're honest.
Consider what is actually sitting at the top of Kotaku in Action, and you'll find far more examples of GamerGate's real focus, punishing progressive individuals, mostly women and people of color.
I love that you describe it as punishment, because that implies that progressives are the ones doing the wrong thing first. You are correct, writer. Progressives are the ones who did the wrong thing of lying about pretty much everything. This article is a good example. If you make hot takes and you lie about stuff, people are going to respond. And since you lie about them, they're not gonna respond nicely.
Just this past week, some of the top stories on Kotaku in Action are focused on topics like feminists rallying to the defense of a female professor accused of sexual harassment against a male, complaints about Twitter allegedly banning conservatives for the same speech as progressives, and the Hungarian government introducing a bill to ban gender studies.
In other words, people make posts that I disagree with. Congratulations, writer, you have harnessed the essential Kotaku in Action experience.
Musin has escaped the harassment and hate campaigns that have driven many women...
Wrong.
The amount of hate and threats that I've been receiving on social media have been pretty staggering.
And I love that you actually say driven many women and people of color out of the industry. It just justifies this image perfectly.
That's because GamerGate will never be about ethics in gaming journalism. It is about harassing and removing women and people of color who are doing their best to expand the world of video games and make it more inclusive.
That is a lie. That is a very big, giant, stinking pile of absolute lie. You don't make gaming more inclusive by blocking people out of discussions. In fact, you only make gaming more divisive. You only want to make it more inclusive to progressives and to people who agree with your agenda. I can actually replace the women and people of color part of that paragraph to progressives because that's the reality of the situation. But the writer uses women and people of color just as a protective shield for their narrative.
This scares people who have historically always been represented in games, but refuse to believe that a more inclusive industry makes all games better.
Actually, no, they don't make games better at all. They make games worse. You've all heard about Battlefield 5 and how the inclusion of women that is historically inaccurate to at least 90% of the battlefields in World War II has caused the game to have significantly lower pre-orders than a game that is pretty much the same as last time. I've talked about this literally in my last video about how progressive video games are reducing the gameplay to the point where it's non-existent so that they can spread their propaganda a lot more and you're not distracted by flashy explosions and, God forbid, actually engaging gameplay. A more inclusive industry doesn't make video games better. Good video games make video games better. Now, to conclude this video, I want to bring this tweet to all of your attention.
There's a beautiful irony to being called a GamerGate obsessed libtard by people who are clearly scouring the internet for mentions of it. Good morning.
Wait. So let me get this straight. You make an article that is nothing but lies and misrepresentation, and people responded to it by going to your mentions, talking about how you are wrong? How horrible. Why can't these people just shut up? I mean, they're just being lied to on a big publication. I just wrote an article that is totally incorrect and misrepresents everyone involved. No big deal. Why are you guys so triggered?
Here's a bunch of threads. Yep, vast majority of which are well below the other top posts, which, shocker, are about SJW agendas and nasty women.
Oh no, Kotaku in Action talks about other topics that you disagreed with. Explain to me why bashing SJW agendas and criticize women who are nasty are bad. Explain to me how bashing all of those people are somehow worse than the amount of lies and misrepresentation that you put on this article. You know what? Tim Pool was right. Why are you even making this article? You're not even doing a good job of lying. This is a poorly written, poorly thought out article that clearly has people pissed off and swarm your mentions. Yeah, writer, you brought this on yourself. And while you're crying about your mentions, let me accompany this with the world's smallest violin.